Sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, welcome back everyone. It's been a break, quite a break. So let's see. We'll get started with chanting. Let's start from the first verse. It's been a while since we've done it. So we'll do lead and repeat. This is Sadhana Panchakam. We're on page 3 if you have the book. If not, you can Google it and buy the book later. Vedo nityam adhiyatam taduditam. Vedo nityam adhiyatam taduditam. Karma svanushthiyatam. Karma svanushthiyatam. Tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. Tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. Kamye matistyajyatam. Kamye matistyajyatam. Papo gaf paridhuyatam bhavasukhe. Gaf paridhuyatam bhavasukhe. Dosho nusandhiyatam. Dosho nusandhiyatam. Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat. Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagrihat. Turnam vinirgamyatam. Vinirgamyatam. Next verse. Sangat satsu vidhiyatam bhagavatah. Satsu vidhiyatam bhagavatah. Bhaktir dridhadhiyatam. Bhaktir dridhadhiyatam. Shantyadi parichiyatam dridhataram. Shantyadi parichiyatam dridhataram. Karmashu santyajyatam. Karmashu santyajyatam. Sadvidvanupasrupyatam pratidinam. Sadvidvanupasrupyatam pratidinam. Tatpaduka sevyatam. Sevyatam. Brahmaikaksaramarthyatam shrutishirah. Brahmaikaksaramarthyatam shrutishirah. Vakyam samakarnyatam. Vakyam samakarnyatam. So the last 2 or 3 classes, we focused on just one word in this verse. Which word? Let's start from the beginning. Sangat satsu vidhiyatam. Seek companionship with people of wisdom. Sanga satsu vidhiyatam. Bhagavatah bhaktir dridhadiyatam. Then be established in firm devotion to Bhagavan. Then cultivate the virtues shantyadi parichiyatam dridhataram karmashu santyajyatam. Cultivate the virtues such as shanti and so on, and then get rid of all desire-ridden actions. So which word did we focus on? Shantyadi. Shanti and adi. Adi means etc. So we focused on all of the virtues given in chapter 16. How many were there? 26. There are 26 virtues we looked at. Why did we take so long on that one verse, Shanti Adi, Shanti, etc.? Because that's usually where we are in our sadhana. When we are told, Atmecha vyavasiyatam, always want that desire for Atma, be happy in Atma, know that you are Brahman, it goes above our heads, or we think, who has time for that? Right? Like, what's the point of that? I can barely have 2 minutes to myself, right? It takes a well-groomed mind, a well-disciplined mind, to be able to listen when we ask it to do something. In fact, when we tell it to do something. Otherwise, it does the exact opposite, right? I'm sure we've heard of the notion, the monkey mind, right? We say, okay, this week, don't get angry. The first thing that happens this week is, I get angry, right? This week, focus on only saying sweet things or don't say them at all. Right? We talked about priyam bruyat, na bruyat, satyam apriyam. Even if it's true, if it's unloving, don't say it. So we focus on that 1 week. What happens? The first word out of your mouth in the morning. Wake up, you lazy. Oh. Whether we're talking to ourselves or others. Right? So that's why we focused on all these different virtues. Because when we can focus on being honest, not being angry or reducing the anger as we looked at, when we can focus on peace internally, not being jealous of others, all of these things, then we are training the mind. Once the mind is ready, then you can move on to the logic of Shastras, which is what it's always telling us to do, right? Shruti Shiraha, the crown of our Shastras is the Vedas. And the Vedas are telling us, you don't have any problems because you're Brahman. But here's my list of problems, Bhagavan. What do you want me to do with this list? It's not a shopping list. These are my problems, and they are very real to me. As long as these problems are real to me, this mind is real to me, this body is real to me, this world is real to me, then I have to do what this body, mind, and intellect needs to be trained. Once I know that this body, mind, intellect, world is all mithya, maya, then of course I'm Brahman. Where is the problem? Right? The first day of the Vedanta course, and this is the beauty of Vedanta, in the first class itself, the answers are given to us. But our whole life and many janmas go after preparing ourselves to understand that answer. That's what Vedanta does. So the very first day of the Vedanta course, the 2-year Vedanta course, residential course, our Acharya came in and said, this is why you're here. I will save you the trouble. Many of you have come from far away places. This is the truth. You have no problems. You are Brahman, and Brahman is ever free. Go home. Pack your bags. In fact, you probably haven't even unpacked yet. Go home. And we're just like, what? But that's why I came here. That's why I quit my job. I quit this. I quit that. I sold my apartment, whatever, right? Many people, and we had people have this notion, the only people that go to ashrams are useless people that have nothing better to do. They're not good enough to have a job. They're not good enough to go to school. They failed out of this and that. We had doctors, we had PhDs, we had scientists, we had teachers, we had all kinds of people, brilliant people in this course. We had people ranging from 17 or 18 all the way till maybe 40 or 50. No, more than that. We had grandparents in our course. That was the last course where grihasthas were allowed. So we had grandparents in our course too. So people come from all walks of life. People come from all kinds of professions. Why? Because ignorance doesn't discriminate. Because ignorance is a great equalizer. What's another equalizer? Sickness, right? Doesn't matter who you are, where you are. Everybody gets sick. And what else is an equalizer? Thank you. Clearly, nobody, no matter how hard you try to freeze your bodies, I know that that's happening now. People want to freeze their bodies and all this and that. You can slow things down, sure, but ultimately, everybody, everything that lives must go. That's a cycle, it's a nature. So, when we talk about Vedanta, unless the student is ready, it can't speak to them at the core. That is why sadhana is the key for us growing and learning. That's why most satsangs, for people who want to change and want to prepare the mind, focus on sadhana. Focus on introspection. Focus on, I'm not perfect the way I am because I find this mind, body, intellect to be real. Therefore, I must train it. Right? Because there's always a time when we feel like, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. That's it. That is the bottom line of Advaita Vedanta. Only Brahman is true. Everything else is mithya. And you know, philosophically, if we are those kind of armchair philosophers sitting here, you want to talk about all the different kinds of, philosophies of Bharatavarsha, we can go on and discuss it at length. Oh, if Brahman is Satyam, then what about this? What about this? What is the soul actually? Where is the soul located? Right? Get into the nitty-gritty. We could do that. But once we go home, we realize that the Jagat may be mithya, but my neighbors are Satyam and they're causing problems for me. Or even my neighbors might be mithya. Mithya meaning a delusion. Right? But my children and my wife have a little bit of Satyam. Because they do irritate me. Right? So, as long as we have any complaints about our lives and this world and the rules in this world, we need to study. We need to study not just our shastras, but also our lives. What habits have I developed over janmas, not just over years or decades? Over many janmas, and these habits are called vasanas. Right? In some local languages, vasana is the smell. Vasana means a smell, right? It's a lingering habit. Right? So if it helps you remember it better, you can use that. But what vasana in Sanskritam is, it's these habits you've built over time, strengthened over time. Okay. Now I have all these vasanas, what do I do with them in this life? I'm just reviewing right now, okay? This is nothing new. I'm just reviewing since we've had a break, and I need a review too, right? So what do I do with these vasanas? Can I make a list of them and say, okay, this week I'll work on this vasana, this vasana, this vasana, this vasana. By the time I'm 40, I'm done. Some of you are like, I'm already 40. Where do I start? This is also the beautiful thing about vasanas. It's like whack-a-mole. I explained it's like the game whack-a-mole. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I see some confusion. Whack-a-mole is a game where you kind of have a flat area like this, but then there's little holes. And out of the holes, randomly, a mole shoots up. It's kind of a violent game now that I think about it. But when the mole shoots up, a little rodent comes up, you have to take a little hammer and hit it on the head, and then it goes back down, right? I guess we shouldn't be playing that game. It is violent. But for this scenario, I'm going to continue with the example. Vasanas are like that. You never know when certain vasanas will come and when they'll disappear, right? There will be years you're working on a particular vasana. Maybe it's I'm telling you, people think this is silly examples are the ones we give with taste, but really that's tough for a lot of people, right? Maybe it's a bad habit. Maybe it's smoking, right? And you try so hard for many, many years, maybe even decades, but then one day cold turkey, you're like, I'm ready, I'm done. And that vasana is gone. And in fact, you start to feel a little nauseous if you smell smoke, even though you used to smoke packs a day, right? So that vasana is just gone. And then you may think, hey, I don't have problems of jealousy. I don't have any of that. I'm fine. Everybody can live their own life. You do you. I'm a very sattvic, happy, peaceful person. And then suddenly, you get married. Even then, you're not a jealous spouse. And then suddenly, you have a daughter, and that daughter gets married. Then you become jealous. Why is she not giving me the same attention? She's not coming to me for help. She's coming for, she's going to her husband, or she's taking care of her kids. And that jealousy sprouts up slowly. You'll be happy for them and everything, but I used to be the go-to. I used to be the one they call for this or that. Right? So we don't know where and when these vasanas can come and go. But what is in our hands is our ability to work on these vasanas. Why? Because in the present, they are giving me a lot of headache. They are preventing me from being peaceful. They're preventing me from being a kind person. They're preventing me from being a happy person. Let's forget the world. I want to be happy, selfishly. And I don't remember who I was having a conversation with, but they were like, we were talking about the source of happiness, right? And they were telling their own husband, they're like, I only got married because I wanted to be happy. And if you don't give me that happiness, then what's the point, right? And then we get into this dialogue of what's selfishness and what's not. Oh, that's such a selfish thing to say. Actually, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is said, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati, which means, for my own happiness or to prevent suffering so I can be in my state of happiness, which is my natural state, I do anything or I love anything. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Whatever it is. Oh, you're saying we're all naturally just selfish? Think about it. At the end of the day, if it doesn't favor me, I'm not going to do it. Oh, but I'm doing this, I'm waking up this early to earn money for, to take care of. Because at the end of the day, they bring me happiness. Seeing them happy gives me happiness. There are days where I wish that they weren't that happy. We never think that. Yes, we may crib about it. Oh, I did this for you. My parents. Right? That's the first thing that comes to mind. We sacrificed this for you and your education and your happiness. At that time, you think telling them, but really, Ma, really, you're doing it for your... You better not. Right? You don't want to pick that battle. But that's reality. I got married because I had children because if you think about it, no one forces us to do anything. Oh, but you don't understand. In society, okay, why? Because what society thinks matters to us, right? These sannyasis, Gurudev, you think his parents were like, oh yeah, be a sannyasi, enjoy? Absolutely not. It was very difficult for his mother. If you come on the 25th, not to be a plug for it or anything, but if you come on Jan 25th, you'll see the story, and you should watch it in the theaters because it's a majestic story of Gurudev. And he You think Adi Shankaracharya's mother, before Gurudev, his guru, Adi Shankaracharya's mother was okay? But they had the conviction. He said, this is it. I don't need another layer of attachment. Did they fulfill their duties, their dharma to their parents? Yes. Adi Shankaracharya ji came home and did the last rites of his mother because he promised he would, even after taking sannyas, because there was no one else. And his duty to his mother comes first. Right? Our Shastras, first worship your mother, then your father, then Guru, then God. Because a mother is the being that gives us an opportunity to come into this world, sacrificing their own life. Right? And most mothers know this. Most fathers have, some fathers have seen this at least. Right? The kind of effort that is put into bringing a child into this world. It's not like go to sleep and wake up and it's done. In fact, some women I have a friend, and after her first child, her child is maybe 10 or 11. She's still going through complications from birth. Right? So all of them, they do their dharma, right? Our Shastras tell us, don't just escape. They do their dharma to their families, but they don't allow society's nose into other aspects of their life when they have that conviction. So we can't blame society. And we spent a whole class about that when we talked about satsanga, right? We spent a class talking about how we decide whether we want to be surrounded by sattva, rajas, or tamas, if you want to talk about all three. Because it's possible. There is definitely possibility to have friends who are lazy, make you feel good about yourself. Oh, but they're also just, not really wanting to pursue this or that. And just, aram se, we just sit there, pop a couple of whatevers, and be there. And you have rajasic friends. Man, what? I've been challenging you on this whatever app for so many days. Let's go. Run those miles. Do these steps, whatever. Constantly come for this, come for that. Go to this practice, that practice. Keeping you engaged 24/7 to the point that you don't have time for yourself or your family, or most importantly yourself. Forget your family at this point. Because when we introspect, that's the only time we have with ourselves, where we can be honest with ourselves. Honest about our emotions, our intellect, our body. And Ayurveda is amazing. Somebody said yes. Yeah, Ayurveda is amazing because it teaches you to listen to your body. That's the number one thing it does. Forget kapha, vata, pitta. That comes in the Shastras, and that helps you. But in reality, you take the time to listen to your body, and your body will tell you, and it'll tell you where it hurts. And you focus. If I just stop talking for a whole minute, it's going to make everyone in this room uncomfortable. I'm sure it will. First of all, you'll think something's wrong with me. Then you'll think something's wrong with you. Right? What's wrong? What is something? Do you need some water? Wait, is everybody else seeing this? Because our body's going to start to talk to us and we want to shut it down. We want to shut down the discomfort, whatever the pain is. And it might not be that you're physically unwell, okay? Physically, you might be perfectly healthy. But there's something going on in your mind. And it's been festering. And you know where it shows up? It shows up in your heart. It shows up in your stomach. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it has nothing to do with Vedanta. It's just about the body and the mind connection. And anything you've been through in life, your body has vibrations that just hold on to it, right? If you let your body talk to you, you'll know what it needs and what you need to do. And you know what sometimes what it is? Just a drink of water. Sometimes you just need to drink some water because your mind will start, your head will start hurting. Oh, I'm dehydrated, especially now in the winter. We'll get cranky. We'll be like, did I eat? I thought I ate. Did I sleep? I thought I slept. You're dehydrated. That's why you're being cranky. Right? So we slow down, take that time to spend with ourselves. Where's the discomfort coming from? Body, mind, intellect. That's how Gurudev classifies it. Body, mind, intellect. Figure out, it is all a science. Figure out the classification. Because naturally, nobody tells us you have to be happy. We are happiness. We chant Purnamada every week. What is Purnam? What is Purnam? Full, whole, infinite. And all we're chanting is basically a mathematical equation. It's beyond a mathematical equation because it's beyond infinitude. Because it's avachama gocharam, which means it's beyond what the speech can explain and beyond what the hands can grasp. But what am I saying? Purnamadaha, Purnamidaha, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. There's fullness around, fullness within. This is fullness. You add something to fullness, it's only fullness. You take something away from fullness, it's only fullness. Purnam eva avashishyate. The only thing left behind is infinitude. And this is a huge difference between the Eastern and Western mindset, if you have to classify it as that. We are constantly being bombarded here, and I shouldn't say here as a local, it's an idea, right? Because people anywhere in the world can live from this idea. A deficit mindset, right? I am not this enough, that enough. I am not, always there's not enough. You're living from a place of less than, and you're trying to fill it up. That's why consumerism works. If I didn't feel that way, it wouldn't work. But our Shastras tell us we're full. What does that mean? I don't need anything else to complete me. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. I only love priyam, I love everything around me because I want to feel that this Atma is full. I want to fill myself up with joy and happiness and peace. Whereas the reality is, I'm already that. Okay, you can stop talking now, Swati, because I don't feel full. You're just irritating me. Stop telling me I'm already happy, because clearly I'm telling you that I'm not. Right? I mean, that's how we feel sometimes. Our Shastras are trying to shove it down our throat. You're already Brahman. You are happiness. You don't have problems. And what are we doing? We're trying to shove it down Shastra's throat, saying, you're wrong. I am sad. I am miserable. I am empty. Think how foolishly that sounds. But that's what we're doing every time we tell ourselves, I am a miserable person. I am making sure that I stay a miserable person. I'm not helping myself get out. In any kind of self-help stuff you want to do, anything you want to look at, that's all it boils down to. What am I telling myself on a daily basis? This is not every Sunday for 5 minutes I tell myself I'm Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. In 6 different Shrutis I can say Aham Brahmasmi. I put on YouTube and it tells me, you are Brahman, you are Brahman, you have no problems, you have no problems. 5 minutes. and then I'll be fine for the rest of the week. Does that work? No. Thank you. What works is even in the most difficult times, when we are on the edge of losing our mind. Somebody brought it up last week, and I think you had brought it up, and someone said the red button, right, on that. She was talking about how you have that outlet where you have multiple sockets, right? And when something goes wrong, all you do is just push the red button to shut everything down. That's a great example. And you pick your example, right? Maybe you go to the garage and turn off the entire house, whatever it is. But the point being, in the moment of difficulty, can I remind myself, I am Purnam, while my child is pulling my hair out, right? While I'm in this really uncomfortable, embarrassing, humiliating situation, am I taking it personally? Right? Because that's the toughest part. But that's life. That's living in samsara. Right? Krishna. Yes, meditation's wonderful, and if we can do it every day, it gives us a boost. Just like you take all these vitamin C boosters, right? You do it. You take that boost. Don't stop it. But real sadhana and growth comes in the most difficult times. And here's the key to remember there. We won't be successful 100% of the time. I'm going to say it again. We will not be successful 100% of the time. I don't know why, but even I, growing up and today I'm still working on it, but we have an obsession with perfection. If you don't do it well, don't do it at all. Okay, then I'll sit at home and do nothing in life. All I can do is give it my best. That's it. So much like test anxiety, all these things I talk to people about, it comes from that internal fear. If I can't get 100, then I'm not even going to try. What? It sounds silly, but that's what we do in life, right? If I don't have 100% guarantee, I'm not going to go down this path. Well, what does give you 100% guarantee? Again, sickness and death. 100% guarantee we're all going to die one day. So that means you try your best until that happens. That's it. The human birth is such a precious opportunity. We can either choose to be miserable through it, or we can be miserable trying to be better. We can continue to say, I'm a sad, sad being, and die and become a sad being. I think I've seen some animals, like sloths, maybe they are happy, right? But when you look at them, I'm just like, man, they seem so sad. They're just like, like they have, I don't know, they have no purpose in life. But I'm not saying I don't know exactly what any being goes through, okay? Even human being, they're the most unpredictable. Even this mind, sometimes what it's doing, God knows. But if we choose to not make 100% use of this human birth, then we won't get it again for God knows how long, right? So we'll finish this verse today. Yeah, we'll finish this verse today and we'll end a little early. I've been sick for like a week, but Gurudev does a beautiful thing. Last Sunday, I was bedridden. This Sunday, I got out of bed. So he wanted me to be here. So this Shantyadih Parichiyatam Dridhataram Karmashu Santejyatam. Now again, this is a review. We talked about the ladder of fall. Why is the Shastra telling us we need to get rid of our desires? Because that's what brings us down this ladder. I'm going to chant it in Sanskritam. If you can make the connections, please try, right? What's the first line? Man, I just chanted it to my husband. Now I forgot. Oh, beautiful, it's not there. Does anybody remember the first line? First you think of objects. Then, what's the... Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate krodad bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smritir bhramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat pranashyati. So a clarification on that verse, right? We talked about how our buddhi nashaha, meaning our memory is lost. I gave examples of how we are in the delusion, the moha, and the moha is what makes us go in circles and not remember anything, right? So memory can serve us in a good way or a bad way. My example was saying that our memories are false, right? We think some things happened a particular way, but many times our brain has already done its job to rewire it. And by the time you remember it, usually you'd have to take away the always and never in your argument. It's not that you or your family always does this or never does this. They are singular incidents that happen, and we're still trying to work through it. Now, the way that memory loss hurts us is that when we're kids, we're taught this, right? You touch something and it burns, don't touch it again. That's clear. Don't touch the stove. It burns. But what do we do as adults? Don't get angry. It burns. Don't carry the jealousy. It burns. Oh, jealousy. Anger, I missed you. Oh, it burns. We take it and we put it inside our hearts. Right? So that's the idea that it talks about in that verse. Whereas this memory loss means that you've forgotten the things that serve you well as well. Right? So you can forget things that help you and remember things that actually didn't happen or exist the way that you thought. So either way, memory doesn't help us. Because it's all just, it's adulterated, right? It doesn't give you the truth. Your intellect has been mixed. Your memory has been mixed, diluted. It's like murky. And that will obviously lead us to fall. Buddhinashat, buddhinashat, pranashyati. Now, pranashyati doesn't have to be taken that will fall flat and be done. Pranashyati means that in that situation, we have fallen. We lost. We failed. So, this is the ladder of fall. Next, sadvidvan upasripyatam pratidinam tat paduka sevyatam. Find, we already talked about this when we talked about sadjana, right? Find a guru, take shelter in the perfect master, a guru. Now this is tricky because you can't really find a guru. What are you going to do, go around with a checklist? Say, guru has to wear orange, check. Guru has to smile when he sees me, check. Guru has to have good posture, check. We can't find a guru. There are indicators for a guru and indicators for a good student also. But a guru finds us. That's what our shastras tell us. So then what's our role? Again, going back to sadhana. You make yourself a worthy student and the guru finds you, one way or the other. And you will be surprised. I know people in India, my cousins and all, were like so surprised when I joined mission and they're like, oh, you have gurus and stuff in America? Guru finds you even if you're in Timbuktu, right? You look so many. I was so surprised by how many branches of not just mission, but any, there's so many ashramas all over the world. And they're sitting and chanting the Bhagavad Gita so beautifully. If you watch the videos of Modi ji, when he travels the world, they welcome him. And when they welcome him, you have people in South Africa and Uganda and all these Kenya chanting the Vedas. Right? And it's not just people from our diaspora. It's people, anybody. And Trinidad, they actually have a Hindu-based school. And they have kids from all backgrounds there. So you'll see all colors of kids chanting Vedas beautifully. Right? So don't worry about having that checklist. You don't need to audit gurus in the world or make a short list. When we are the good student, the right student, the qualified student, the guru will find us. Right? And in different ways and forms. Next, tat paduka sevyatam. Doing pada seva doesn't mean you grab the guru's pada and do puja to them every morning and bother them. Tat paduka sevyatam. Paduka is their sandals. You can do paduka puja in the morning along with your other prayers. What? Just offer a flower, right? But you could also live by their teachings. That itself is a big worship. Gurudev was asked once, you've taught so many students, and they live all over the world, and in fact, many of Gurudev's students have opened their own ashramas, their own societies, and some of them are in academia, some of them are in sannyasi life, and both. And he was asked, you have all these students, what do you expect from them? What do you expect? Right? And even students, like, Guru, what do you want? What is a good Guru Dakshina for you? And all Gurudev said is, if they happen to see me one day somewhere, if they can just say Hari Om. It's the compassion of a Guru, right? But they don't expect anything from us. Our Guru Dakshina is trying to live according to their teachings, the best we can. Because we have that buffer of compassion. They know we're not perfect. They know we're students. And once a student, always a student. You'll see people that are 80 years old sitting at the feet of their 100-year-old guru. And they will also see that 80-year-old Amma as a child. Because for gurus, their students are their children. Right? So you could also see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila Maharaj teaches his mother. So they do a change of roles. His mother ends up being a student to him. And he's a guru there. Right? So he starts treating his mother as his child, his student. Finally, the last verse. Brahmaikaksharam arthyatam shrutishiraha vakyam samakarnyatam. What our shastras keep telling us to do. Worship the Om, Brahma Eka Aksharam, if you split it. Brahma Eka Aksharam, Brahma Eka Aksharam. That one akshara, one sound. I shouldn't say sound, but the translation is that one letter, they say, but A, U, M make up Om. So I'm just going to say that Om. Right? That represents Brahman. So if you are unable to study the Shastras for whatever reason, you're unable to speak the words in the Shastras, Om, anybody can say. Finally, my daughter has gone beyond O, and she says, So she finishes it now. Om, anybody can say it. And in it, it holds the universal truth. How beautiful is that? In that one sound, everything exists. Even, they say, in outer space, right? I've never been. I don't know if any of you all have been. Nowadays, it seems possible. But even in outer space, they say that is that one hum that's always there, that Om Nada. And when the entire world collapses and opens up again, because that's a nature. When galaxies collapse and open up, it all happens in the presence of that Om. That's it. And the beauty is, we chant that. I don't know how many of you noticed, in the first 3 Oms that we did, the first one was mostly me and a little bit of others. Second and third Om is when all of you joined me. You can hear a difference in the collective chanting of Om. I missed that during COVID because we had online classes and I would be chanting Om by myself, and some of them would be drinking their coffee and some of them would be chanting. But that collective chanting is very powerful. Even when we're sick, hearing that nada in the background, right? You might find it annoying if you're not used to it initially, but then it kind of just is there, right? It's beautiful. So in this Brahma Eka Aksharam, listen to that sound. Revel in that sound. And for some, that's enough. Dakshinamurti, maunam. Dakshinamurti Swami, all he needed was silence. So that silence between the Om, realization, that's it. How would he teach you? Come here every week, 1 hour. That's it. That's the qualifications of a student. I'm not that kind of a student. That's not enough for me. So, we finished finally this verse 2. Okay? The next verse we will look at next week. I think we have 2 more classes. But we'll stop here with Purnamadaha. And now that you have a glimpse of what Purnamadaha kind of means, do the equation in your head. That fullness. Fullness there, fullness here. You try to add something, still full. Try to take something away. Take anything away. Doesn't matter, you take freely. Why? Because I'm still full. And no matter what happens in this world, that fullness alone exists. You cannot destroy that, which means really you can't destroy me. By me, do I just mean Swati? Please don't say it's just me as in Swati, because then we're identifying with the body. By me, I'm saying that Brahman, which is all of us. Take a deep breath in. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.